Okay, let's talk about denial in a mixed faith marriage due to a faith transition. Denial is part of the grief process. It is typically something that happens. Now, denial is an interesting one to me because a lot of times we do again associate this in a negative light, like we do with sadness and anger. We think people are weak or somebody's in denial. That is not a compliment that we often share with somebody. But I want you to think of being in denial and in that phase because you're experiencing grief and working through the grief process as okay, as normal, as part of the process. Just like I said with sadness and anger. That denial, a lot of times this looks like you deny the fact that you're in a faith transition. You deny the fact that your spouse is in a faith transition. You tell yourself this is a phase. They'll work through this. I'll work through this. This is temporary. This isn't going to change anything. This isn't going to mean anything. A lot of times we're in denial for very good reasons. It's because we're not yet ready to deal with the full ramification of what's going on. Our brain puts us in denial so we can be more prepared to make whatever decisions we need to make and deal with other changes we need to make. So if you're in denial or your spouse is in denial, I realize sometimes this can be annoying, but it's also an important part of the process of being able to move on and make decisions and recalibrate and readjust to move forward and do whatever needs to be done next and make whatever decisions need to be done next. I like to think of it a little bit like a waiting room. Sometimes we go to the waiting room and we sit in our denial before we can move on with our anger or our sadness or our bargaining or whatever it may be. And that's okay. We can only go as fast as we can go. And sometimes sitting in the waiting room is exactly what needs to be done for our highest and best and to work through whatever process we need to work through.